Imagine you got a job for 2 weeks, $14 a day. Easy work, they said. Just play a role. You show up. You get a uniform. You get a badge or a number or a chain around your ankle. Within 6 days, the experiment is shut down. Not because it failed, because it worked too well. And the real answer to why is far stranger than anyone expected. You assume you know who you are, kind or cruel, brave or timid, fixed like a fingerprint. But in the summer of 1971, a psychologist named Philip Zimbardo built a fake prison in the basement of Stanford University and discovered something that should unsettle you. Your identity is not as solid as you think. Zimbardo recruited 24 college students, ordinary young men, screened for good mental health, no criminal history, nothing unusual. He split them randomly. Half became guards. Half became prisoners. A coin flip decided their fate for the next 2 weeks. The prisoners were arrested at their homes, real police cars, real handcuffs, driven to the station, then blindfolded and delivered to the basement, stripped, deloused, given smocks and numbers. No names, just numbers. The guard were given uniforms, mirrored sunglasses, and wooden batons. No training, no script, just one instruction: maintain order. What happened next took less than 48 hours. The guards did not decide one morning to become cruel. It crept in sideways. A guard blocks a doorway just to see what happens. Another makes a prisoner do push-ups for talking. By day 2, guards are waking prisoners at 2 a.m. for head counts. They are stripping men naked as punishment. They are putting bags over heads. Nobody wrote these rules. The role wrote them. Here is the part that should stop you cold. Zimbardo was not just a researcher. He was also the prison superintendent. He was so absorbed by the role himself that when a colleague, Christina Maslach, walked through and saw the prisoners shuffling in chains, she was horrified. She asked him a simple question: "What are you doing to these boys?" That question is what ended the study on day 6 of a Plan 14. Why does this happen? Why do decent people turn cruel this fast? Your brain is built to read situations, not just people. Psychologists call this the fundamental attribution error, a term coined by Lee Ross in the 1970s. It simply means this: when you watch someone do something bad, you assume it says something about their character. But when you do something bad, you blame the situation. You are always the exception. Everyone else is the rule. This bias runs so deep that even trained clinicians fall for it. But Zimbardo's prison did not just reveal a bias. It revealed a mechanism. Give a person a uniform, a title, a role with power attached. Strip away their name, surround them with others already behaving badly, and you create what he later called the Lucifer effect. Ordinary people doing extraordinary harm, one small permission at a time. You might be thinking, that was one experiment decades ago. Maybe it does not hold up. Fair. Science should be skeptical of itself. And in fact, later researchers, including psychologist Alex Haslam, reran versions of the study and found the guards did not turn cruel automatically. Cruelty required leadership, reinforcement, a sense that the group and the authority figure wanted this. Zimbardo, in his role as superintendent, had given subtle signals that this was expected. So the honest modern answer is more precise and somehow more disturbing. You do not become cruel just by wearing a costume. You become cruel when the people around you make cruelty feel normal, expected, even necessary. The costume just gives you permission to stop resisting. This connects to something even older. 10 years before Zimbardo's basement, a Yale psychologist named Stanley Milgram ran a different experiment. He told ordinary volunteers they were helping test memory. Really, he was testing obedience. A man in a lab coat instructed them to deliver electric shocks to another person whenever they answered a question wrong. The shocks were fake. The screams were recorded. The volunteers did not know that. Milgram predicted almost no one would go all the way to the maximum dangerous voltage. 65% did. Not because they were monsters, because a calm voice in a lab coat kept saying, "Please continue. The experiment requires that you continue." Notice the pattern. Milgram's subjects obeyed a voice of authority. Zimbardo's guards obeyed a role and a crowd. Different mechanisms. Same result. Your behavior bends around the structure you were placed inside, more than you would ever guess sitting here, calm, reading this. And this is not locked in a basement in 1971. You live inside versions of this every single day. Think about the last time you were part of a group chat that turned on someone. Nobody planned it. One person made a joke. Another piled on. By the 10th message, you are typing something you would never say to that person's face, alone in a room with no audience. The chat became the basement. The screen became the badge. Think about a workplace where everyone quietly cuts corners because that's just how it's done here. You did not arrive corrupt. The environment normalized it 1 inch at a time, the same way a guard's first small cruelty made the second one easier. Here is the modern mirror that should really land. Online, you are given something eerily similar to Zimbardo's prisoner's numbers, a username, an avatar, distance from consequence. Researchers studying online disinhibition, building on work by psychologist John Suler, have shown that anonymity and invisibility online produce the same drifts Zimbardo saw in his basement. People say things behind a screen name they would never say with their real face attached, not because the internet made them evil, because it removed the same friction that, in daily life, quietly keeps your instincts in check. So, what do you do with this? You cannot opt out of situations. You cannot live without roles, uniforms, group chats, workplaces, screens. But you can do the one thing almost none of Zimbardo's guards did. You can notice. The instant you catch yourself thinking, this is just how things are done here. Stop. That sentence is the exact moment the basement starts forming around you. Christina Maslach ended the Stanford experiment not with power, but with one honest question, asked out loud to someone deep inside a role. You do not need a title to ask that question. You just need to be willing to be the person who says it. Because here's the truest, strangest part of all this. The line between the guard and the person horrified by the guard was never about who they were as people. It was about who, in that basement, was willing to ask, what are you doing to these boys? And who was too far inside the role to hear it. You assume you know who you are, kind or cruel, brave or timid. But the real answer is far stranger. You are not a fixed thing. You are a person standing inside a structure. And the only question that has ever really mattered is whether you are willing to notice which one you're standing in